Camry. That be the thing. We have a content.
Here on the AM show, we're talking a number of things. First of all, they think that Christians have been missing in the party's manifestos, but what exactly does that mean? Reverend, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mama V.
I hope you're well.
Just by God's grace, we are doing good, but for the violence we are witnessing, and you hear this and you think it's becoming better, then another one, which is very disturbing.
But is this not expected?
It's expected, but considering the effort we are also making now, something they call peace industry, the number of people who are getting involved, the investment, donor agencies, media, and other NGOs, one would have expected that we'll be responding, the various political parties will be responding. You know, in leadership, you don't just go for your personal comfort. You respond to the aspiration of the people. So the more we see that these are the yearnings, the concerns of the citizen, somebody must be responding to this. The two political parties, the leading ones, should be responding to what ordinary Ghanaians are yearning for.
Some people have accused those who preach peace, which would include the Christian Council, of just preaching peace, 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 peace. You are not, and you know it when people do terrible things, you know, but you don't call them out. You're just preaching peace.
Yeah, I mean, people are free to express their opinion in such matters, and that is what we are supposed to do. We are not enforcers of, when it comes to enforcement of the law, we are not there. So we are peacemakers, preachers of peace. Then some people must enforce. So that is what we are supposed to do first and foremost. But there are other things also we do. We don't go public. At the moment, the Christian Council of Ghana, heads of churches, have been in meeting, closed door meeting with the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. We've met the IGP and his commanding officers. We've met foreign embassies. We have met so many people, and we are going around the whole country. Myself, we've been to Tamale, I've been to Wa. In Tamale, the Bamba boys, Azoka boys, Aluta boys, we've been to meetings.
You met all those groupings?
Sure, in Tamale, you know, with Muslim leaders, Zongo chiefs. I've been to Ho. So we are running around the whole country. Now, when we do this kind of thing, some of them, we may not bring in media. So ordinary people may not know. We are meeting the political parties also. We are meeting regional police commanders and all that. But the real challenge is there are people who must enforce laws, and then the political parties must also play the game according to the rules. You know, people are becoming, they will be calling them honorable. They should not wait to be sworn into offices to become honorables. The process towards attaining power must equally be honorable, you know. And some of the things we are witnessing is sad. Why do you become an honorable, His Excellent, at the back of a poor, innocent person's blood? You know, we are maiming people only to be called one day honorable. And so our leaders must uphold their integrity, their decency, their credibility must also be cherished. They must protect it. So whether bodies like Christian Council, we are only preaching peace or all that, some people must be more responsible about how they are playing the game. And the security agencies must be up and doing, because some of us, beyond preaching peace, beyond mediation, there's very little we can do. We don't have power to arrest anybody. We can't go beyond admonition, counseling, preaching, teaching. We can't.
So these groupings that you've met so far in Tamale and elsewhere in the Volta region and so on, what have you been telling them?
At the moment, we are running this program that is sending us around the country with Denmark ambassador, and then UNDP, and then Office of the National Chief Imam. So we go into the regions and we'll bring, we run series of dialogue meetings, one for Muslims, so Muslim imams in the region, and then Zongo chiefs, and then the various youth leaders. And then if we do the Muslim one, they use Quran to discuss peace, the place of peace, unity, harmony, cohesion in the Quran. But we are there. Then we do another day for regional heads of churches, youth leaders, women leaders in the region. We do that with the security agencies, YEC, and others in the region. Then on the Saturday, we have peace walk. So, in fact, the recent one we had in Tamale, the Denmark ambassador, Her Excellency Toph, and her husband joined us, yes, with the regional police commander and all that from the Jubilee Park to Nobisco. And so we've been to Ho already, we've been to Ashanti region already. In fact, together with you, Multimedia Sempa, we will do the Greater Accra one on 26th.
Okay.
You know, so we are telling young people especially that even if they don't have money, jobs, they have a future that they must protect, which they should not allow anybody to destroy. And this is the only country we have. Religious people, if you put Christian Muslims together, we are more than 90%. So there's something we can do. We should not allow people to use Christians, Muslims to disturb the peace we have in this country. We need peace for development, peace for education, peace for farming, peace for you to do what you are doing. And even those of us church people going to mosques, going to church, if you don't have a very peaceful atmosphere, it's not possible.
How do we measure all these efforts, all these work that you're putting into all the dialogues? How do we measure it in the end?
Yeah, that is why I started by saying that, you know, it's expected. The question you asked earlier on that, close to election, is it not expected, like all other contests, beauty contests, football, boxing, it's expected that the temperatures will rise, but not to the extent of gunshot, maiming people, people losing their eyes, not, you know, losing death, some threatening death, that kind of thing. There we should not go. We are dealing with life, you know, and you go to places and you get the assurances and all that. But sometimes you expect the political leaders themselves also to come out to say that we have a tradition and we are not a violent party. And so anybody who is part of us and you go this way, we will disown you. Sometimes I expect, if whether it's affect who or whoever is involved, MPP people to come out that violent, whoever is behind it, whether you are part of us, is not part of the tradition. People must be legacy conscious. What's the kind of political party ideology we want to leave behind?
But even if, and I want to believe that sometimes they do, even if they say it, you know what they say? There are some politicians who would say in the open that we want peace, but they same people would pay people on the when there's nobody watching, so that they can be violent.
Mama, that is the unfortunate part of it. They are arming them. They are giving them this confidence that whatever happens, we are there for you. We should be, now look at, why should US Embassy and UK, why should they come out with the statement yesterday that any Ghanaian who is involved, and they have their own ways of gathering intelligence. Now, these people who are members of parliament and all that may be able to handle these issues. But ordinary young person in a village somewhere, whose name will find their way into their database, you go to embassy and they'll be denied visa. They may not explain to you why they are denying you. They are not obliged to explain anything. Let's think about the future of the young people they are arming, mobilizing, you know, for this kind of dirty jobs. We plead with them, please, for the sake of the future of such innocent people, let us sustain decency. Yes, we need campaign. It should be contest of ideas, not mobilizing people with arms, exchange of bullets. We don't need that. Let's be more civil about the way we go about.
We should be grateful also that this time around there are a lot of people going to courts, trying to fight their cases out in courts. Christian Council should be happy about that, right?
Yes, especially the Chief Justice. The recent Judicial Service meeting they organized, she was very emphatic that, I mean, the delays we've been having in our court and all that, she's putting up structures. And you see indicators that really something is moving on well in our judiciary system. But other sectors must respond to that. If you are prepared to go to court, then why do you also arm people? Why do you throw stones? If you know we have agitation and we are going to court, then why Kukomu, Suhum, Odododio, Nima, and many more? Then why should we have that? So now that even the public confidence in our judiciary service keep rising and rising, let us be more civil. Let's play the game according to the rules. The law courts are there. No innocent blood should be shed because somebody is becoming member of parliament, somebody is becoming our president. It shouldn't be.
You've taken your time to look through, surprisingly, because you're a church leader. People, I guess, wouldn't have expected that you go through the manifestos, but you have.
Yes.
And there's something missing.
Yes, we requested for them, and
Okay.
they all responded. So I have NDC manifesto. I have NDC manifesto and others.
You have NDC,
Independent candidates and all that, and I've read them.
You've gone through all the
Yes,
manifestos.
yes.
So what's your finding?
Great, we'll congratulate them. The ideas in the super, but I can tell you, you can have A+ policy and have F- implementation. It's possible. And it's something we must. But the things I've read, super. I pray that you will not be A+ policy plans and F- implementation. But then something is missing. You know, you see, in politics, and let me say that I studied political science at University of Ghana, and then at the master's level also. So I understand this issue. Professor Achu taught us policy analysis, policy or development administration, public policy administration. So I have studied them. So I'm a theologian, you know, but I understand this game. Now in politics, there's something they call social contract. You see, you walk to me, you explain your intentions through your manifesto to me. Out of that, I make decision that because of your intention for me, I'm going to submit my sovereign will, you know, to you as my leader. You know, then there must be accountability. If we move on and say, you remember you told me this. You know, now the churches and other religious bodies are key partners in our national development. They not the preaching side they do. 40% of all health facilities in this country, hospitals, clinics in this country today belong to the churches. They establish them, they are managing them under what we call Christian Health Association of Ghana, by Christian Council of Ghana and the Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference. 40%. Take Achimota out, and almost all the best second cycle institutions in Ghana belong to the churches. The churches acquire the land, establish them, build the facilities. Government came in to support them in the administration. All the schools, the Presec, the Bree Girls, the Wesley Girls, the St. Roses, what's your former school?
Zion College.
You know, these are all churches, AME, Zion, and all that, you see. And they are still the best. Now the churches are into university education and all that. Governments are looking for PPP and all that. And foreign people walk in, and there are concessions, rebate, tax rebate for them. And you ask yourself, if you have this group of people who are making significant contribution in terms of employment, go to the churches, their various secretaries, and the number of Ghanaians who have been employed, secretaries, drivers, accountants, consultants in church projects, in their guest houses and all that. Look at the numbers and many more. And now you ask yourself, close to election, and nobody is talking about the Christian hospitals in Ghana. And they have problems, real problems. Sometimes, because of what I do, together with the Catholic Bishop, the General Secretary, we appoint the whoever runs the Christian Health Association. And sometimes there are threats, because you see, Christian hospitals, they don't go on strike. All Christian hospitals in Ghana. And so when government hospitals are on strike, you hear Minister of Health directing people to our hospitals. We take loans, you know, to run our pharmacy department. And sometimes more than 10 months, National Health Insurance, you don't have your money. And how, church people, how do you run the hospital? Somebody must think about this. Now there's a real issue, you know, church-government partnership in running mission schools. The churches feel that they've been sidelined. They've been complaining, not under the current administration. It's been there for long. And it's becoming worse every day. And the excitement, you know, you go to church, you should be able to convince somebody, let's give me money, let's establish new school. Now the members feel that, but you do this, what is Christian in our schools? When they will not allow us to have a say in our schools.
But what were you expecting really in the manifestos? What kind of provision were you expecting that they will make to Christians?
At least there must be some responses that the churches have raised again and again in the management of our hospitals. You know, National Health Insurance. Government one, no big deal. But what about the private one? Private people like the churches that go to bank to take loan to run hospitals.
But don't you make profits?
No. Let's go to Agogo Hospital, go to Wenchi Hospital. You see, the same as the churches, universities. They are not profit-making ventures. What it means is, I mean, like your former school, go to Presec Bree Girls. Ever since the Presbyterian Church and the Methodist Church, Wesley Girls, go to Prempeh College, Opokuware, ask the Catholic, call them. Go to YP and the others, you know, Salvation, I mean, ask them. the monies get back into the hospital, get back into the school. No church. Presbyterian Church had never taken 0.001% profit from any of their investments in education and health. None of them. They don't. I'm not talking maybe individuals who set up such things, but the bodies like AME, Zion, and all that don't take a peso. And so somebody must encourage them even to invest more. And it's sudden that they are all quiet.
So you are looking for at least some little piece of encouragement.
That's a recognition.
In the form of what exactly?
Policy statement, policy direction. What do we look at? We also vote. And we need something to deepen what I call area on a social contract. So what should inform Christians who are interested in churches' investment in education, health, employment, hospitality, method this church has done well and all that. You know, what do we look out for? Because we don't function the same way as ordinary business people. What is going to be different? And you see, every election is about the future. And so if I have a manifesto that doesn't give indicators how the future is going to look like, it's worrying.
Did you get an opportunity to meet the political parties when they were drafting their manifestos?
No, none of them. The national one, they will call us, Dr. Thompson and his people will call us the National Development
Planning Commission.
That one, yes. But the various political parties, none of them.
Did you at least write something to them? Your concerns?
Not when they were doing their independent exercise. Now that they have finished, we've written to them, and now they have given us their manifesto. We study them and say, look at this. Please don't ignore us. Address our concern, because we matter. We matter. More than we know the SADA Zongo Development Fund, great, but there are other deprived areas that must be addressed. There are other religious interests.
If there was a fund, I mean, would the fund do?
I don't want to do the thinking for them, because these are people with strategic planners and all that. But at least in their own independent thinking, we want them to dream for that sector, that constituency of our country, that we have 70%. You see, the churches form the biggest NGO in Ghana. That's the biggest NGO. No politician should take the churches for granted. Nobody.
What's that one thing that if it was done for the churches, it would be such a good deal?
At least, for instance, over the years, just last week, the Minister of Health sent a letter to us that Diabetes Day, use the churches to do this education. Ebola, they called me, you will call us. Chief of Staff, call us into meeting. There are several kinds of meeting they call us into. You know, that you are good in public education. Do this. Now, the government will call you, do this. Or there are certain things, you know, even if they don't call you, know, I can do public education and this. And they are happy. Then you get to a point, you see, it's like when you are feeding the hungry people, they clap for you. When you ask the question, why are people hungry? Then they say you are doing politics. So one thing that moving forward we should address is how church and state government engagement are going to be done in the coming years must be addressed in the manifesto.
If the church got appointments, for instance, in the governance of our country, will the church take it? Because church, that's one way of directly influencing.
When you talk about church, you have structures. I go to church, I'm a pastor, you know, and therefore there are certain partisan things I should distance myself so that I can be there for everybody. But when we talk about church, ordinary members in the church are also part of the church. So when you ask the question, if government is going to give appointment to the church, ordinary members in my church, yes, and that is what is happening. But our pastors must draw the line and must know certain lines they should not cross. But we will still expect the political parties to come out how they want to engage with religious bodies in the coming years ahead of us. They should not take that for granted, because it is not fair that when you want religious bodies to go into health, education, literally they call you here, such from even statement, official statement, president, ministers of state. You go in and you find a political party, activists, ministers attacking, insulting, and sometimes threatening you. And that order must change. That order must change. And it will not drop. Somebody must deeply think through and let it become part of the policy direction they are giving to us, because we count, we matter. We are also part of the system, and nobody should take us for granted.
So surely for this year's election and for the manifesto is perhaps too late.
Mama, it's not too late. Not too late in the sense that we got to know now the real people who are going to contest just some few days ago. Yep. So now we know we are dealing with 7 people. Just last week, I met one of them. The independent candidate was in my office.
Okay.
He
presented his manifesto.
Yeah, manifesto to us. He drove and presented his manifesto. We got to know them, that these are the real people. People were talking earlier on, and we had to wait because of who we are. We didn't have to rush for anything. Now that the EC had come out with the 7 names, that they are those we are dealing with. And that is why we are coming out. That at least, if even when you were going through, you missed something, go back to the drawing board. Go back to the drawing board and consider the over 70% Christian population, same with other religious bodies, I must say, Muslim, because they're also into education, and think about the place of religion, not how people pray and all that, but religious role in development programs, education, health, employment. Think about that.
So you're hoping that they will come out before we actually go and vote on December 7th?
We will clap for them if they do that. If any,
what difference would that make? Are you going to tell your church members, for instance, that don't vote for them because they didn't respond to our call?
We will never go to that extent. In fact, even if they come out with whatever differences, we will still, but not just that categorical statement, vote for us, because people must be free to make their decision. But the decisions must be well informed.
Okay.
You know, it should not be the sensational who is handsome or handsome, who is from my hometown and all that. But issues about quality health delivery. We have real challenges in this country, and sometimes we reduce them to certain minor, but the real problem, you know. And so I will want to go to church and do education, that election is about our future. And so we should look for things like that. That is why now we are telling them that this is missing, provide it, so that those who are looking through your manifesto to make their decision will see what you have said.
Okay.
Yes, so I would rather want church members to read this thing and allow their decision to be well informed. You know, rather than going to, you see, this person will do better than this. Because I told you that you can have A+ policy statement and F- implementation. So sometimes manifestos are not enough, but at least it's the starting point of the journey, and it must be there.
But if they make any statement at all, you're going to hold them to it.
Of course, and if they are not able to do it, they'll come back to explain. That is accountability side of it.
Okay.
You know, you can promise me X plus Y. If it happens that it must be X minus Y, you must explain.
All right. We'll certainly do a follow-up where we wait to watch and see how they respond to this call.
Great.
But we're grateful that you could join us this morning. Always very interesting having a conversation with you. The fact that you're ready to touch on almost everything. Thank you so much.
That's my enjoyment.
We'll have another conversation before the elections, definitely.
Sounds good.
Because I want to know exactly what the churches are doing to contribute to the election proper and the processes. That's Reverend Dr. Kwabena Oponim Frimpong joining us. He's General Secretary of the Christian Council.
General Secretary.
Stay with us. We've got entertainment coming up here on the show.